Welcome to the next episode of the Austin Bar Association's Council of Firsts. I'm your host, Amanda Arriaga, First Latina Bar President. This podcast is made possible by the Texas Bar Foundation. In today's episode, we talk to Adrianne Waddell, President of the Hispanic Bar of Austin. She's a graduate of Rice University and the University of Texas School of Law. Adrianne's an associate at Holland & Knight and serves on the board of Volunteer Legal Services of Central Texas and actively volunteers on the Eviction Task Force. She's also on the board of Music to Life, a nonprofit that connects socially conscious musicians with the resources needed to realize their bold visions for community change. Adrianne was named to the Hot List for Lawyers of Color in 2023, received the Outstanding Services Award for the American Bar Association Military Pro Bono Project in 2021, and was named a Holland & Knight Pro Bono All-Star from 2017 to 2021. I'm so happy to have with me today, Adrianne Waddell. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I want to start at the beginning. Why did you want to be a lawyer?
I was that child who was like, I'm going to be a lawyer when I was 8. And I'm just persistent and stubborn probably. And I didn't have lawyers in my family. I think I just knew that lawyers were smart. I thought that they helped people. Still believe that. And I think they were respected. They were just, it was sort of this ideal. And this ideal I had of a lawyer, probably based on movies and TV. And that was always what I was going to do. I was just always going to be a lawyer. And of course, as I went through school, I still had that in mind. I studied engineering, though, in college, which I could because I went to a camp at UT and was like, well, engineers can do whatever they want, so I can still go to law school. So there was always this like maneuvering around being a lawyer. And I love it still. So it all sort of worked out. But I was that child that decided I'm going to be a lawyer, and that's what I'm going to do. I also can't do blood, so doctor was out of the question.
There are a lot of people who have said that.
Yeah.
Doctor or lawyer, but doctor includes blood and sick people.
Yeah, it was not going to happen. I knew that from an early age. But yeah, I think it was one of those things, when you grow up in a family that doesn't sort of have these like higher professions in them. Usually that's what you think, right? Doctor, lawyer. And I went the lawyer route, and now here I am.
And it sounds like with being an engineering major, you're very methodical.
Yeah.
And so you ended up very methodically doing public sector with the PUC, which is a complicated issue area, and then going into the public sector. Do you think it's important to have both of these experiences to be a good lawyer?
100%. I even wish I had worked before going to law school. Because I was so adamant about being a lawyer, I was like, I'm going straight through. I knew I didn't want to do grad school, which is funny because 2 years versus 3 years of law school probably would have been preferable. But I do wish I'd worked as like an engineer for a little bit, having the degree and being able to do something else. But going into the public sector first, and I even started before I was licensed, I was at Railroad Commission on a fellowship. So I went from railroad to sort of PUC, and that allowed me to really utilize my technical degree and the sense of, I have a civil engineering degree, and it was very much focused on energy and sort of environmental. And so it was a nice kind of combination of everything I'd done so far. I loved my time at the PUC. I definitely felt like I had a lot to learn. It was giving me insight into the industry from a different perspective, especially because I was in commission advising. So we actually evaluated the PUC legal side and like the utility side or whoever the party was, and then made recommendations to the commissioners. So it was very much almost like a clerking experience. I wish I would have done that too, or had just more, these are things, not having lawyers in my family, these are things I know now that I can counsel and mentor like younger students for. But these other experiences, whether it's working at the state, clerking, or even just working outside of the legal industry, I think are so valuable to your legal practice later in life. They just give you such a better context. They give you just more of a better understanding of sort of the bigger picture, and how your advice plays into that. When you're working with clients, they don't want to just hear no or these legal arguments that you make. Like, these are people with a business to run, and they want to know how to get it done at the end of the day. So I 100% think working in the public sector and also just having other experiences 100% plays into my law firm career, plays into just my legal career overall. And I really do. I treasure that time that I was there.
Well, and you work now at a big fancy law firm. You're a fancy corporate lawyer, but you still think that pro bono is very important.
Yes.
Why is that so important to you?
100%. I mean, again, I became a lawyer. I thought lawyers helped people. That's what they do. I help my clients daily, but I also have amazing resources, and Holland and Knight is so supportive of pro bono. It's a big deal, and it's not just, when you're interviewing in law school firms, they're like, oh yes, we have a pro bono policy, but they really do take it seriously. They really do care. There's so many avenues to do pro bono, and even the pro bono I do now. So I do a lot of veteran pro bono or even active duty, a lot of benefits cases, which is interesting, because they're really admin law at their core, and that's what I did at the state. That's what I do now and part of my practice. And so it's funny having it. What's funny to me that it all kind of comes together full circle, because it's like I have my true legal admin kind of law practice in the electric energy world, and then I can apply that to pro bono, which I wouldn't have really thought about. I think when people think pro bono, they think, oh, the family law cases, which I have done, which are wild, but I highly recommend everyone do at least one in their life. But I do those, and then I do other pro bono things with the eviction task force. That's been a newer thing I've been working on, which is more litigation based. But pro bono, I mean, I just think, I hope to make this world a little bit better any way I can. And I have so many resources at my disposal through the firm. And even if I wasn't at the firm, like I have my time that and I find the way to make it work, even in a big law firm. And a lot of people do. I have a colleague who easily bills 300 pro bono hours a year. He chairs our veterans group. And a lot of my other colleagues are, dedicated to these pro bono projects that take years. Sometimes I have cases that are 1 or 2 years, especially with the veterans benefits cases. They take a while sometimes. But we all, we make it work. And like I said, the firm is super supportive. And I just think at the end of the day, we're here to give back in some way. And you get to meet people and learn new things along the way. And especially, like I said, like mine does tie into my practice. It's admin law sometimes, or it's litigation based, like the eviction dockets. And so if you're not getting in the courtroom as an associate, on like a case because the client's not going to pay for that, which happens, hey, take a pro bono case, and then you're in the courtroom, then you're kind of getting some practice, and it's a way to learn. So I wholeheartedly support pro bono.
Well, and you give back in a lot of ways. You're on a lot of boards, but you're
Yes.
currently the president of the Hispanic Bar of Austin.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about some of the projects the Hispanic Bar does and ones that you're most proud of, and maybe how our audience can support you.
Yes. So I'm from Austin, born and raised, and coming back for law school, having been here before, I've just always been involved in Hispanic Bar Association of Austin. The people who have been in it even longer than I have just seen me go from law school to now. And it's just really, again, it's come full circle. Me being president, I was a scholarship recipient when I was in law school, volunteer. And it's just everything we do is so important to me. We have so many programs and scholarships that we provide. One of the biggest, which we were just talking about, is the Hispanic Heritage Luncheon, which is our annual event. That we raised over $120,000 this last year for that helps support our scholarships. So whether that's for bar reviews, even taking the LSAT, taking whatever prep courses, sort of anything legal related. It also helps fund our essay scholarship competition for the middle schoolers. We also have fellows that we support through different organizations. We have our St. Ed's mentorship program, which, by the way, I almost think we have like a 99% graduation rate. The students that are coming through St. Ed's and getting mentored and getting a scholarship from us are graduating, which is the best kind of pipeline result you could hope for. And then, moving on to hopefully a career in law. And so we really, the support we have from the community and what we give back is just incredible. We have our scholarship component. We have upcoming, since we just had our Heritage Luncheon, which saved the date for next year. I think it's gonna be around the same time. We have our Thanksgiving baskets that we do for the community. Lulu Flores has always headed that up. HEB has been a great partner in that. And so we provide Thanksgiving baskets to the community around November. And then we do our kids' holiday party, which we have Santa, we do presents, we have a whole sort of magic show for the community. And so there's really a lot of just great community values in HBAA us. We try to give back. We try to uplift. We try to mentor, and really keep that at our focus. And I mean, we're Hispanic. It's all about community and familia. And I think that's really what drives us. And I'm really proud of the organization we are, of the people we have involved, of the people that are starting to get involved. Like I've been, as president, I'm realizing there's so many more people we can get involved. Like Linda, we were talking about. There's just so much we still have to do, which is we've done a lot, but we have a lot more to do. One of the biggest projects I will say that we're working on is our website. It does not match, I think, our caliber of organization. It is a little outdated. I am very well aware. But if you want to get involved, still go to the existing website. It's HispanicBarAustin.com. Just send us an email too. Send me an email. We need board members. To come on. We are happy to take volunteers for the Heritage Luncheon or any of our sort of community service projects. If you want to help with even the website, let me know. But we definitely can use people who, new life that wants to come into the organization. I think sometimes we have, the same people kind of rotating because we love it so much, but we are always happy to bring in new people and are so excited to have new members, because we have a really dedicated group of people, that already are in this organization, but we can always use more help and more volunteers and just more ideas. There's so much more we can do, I think. And even partnering with the other bar organizations, anyone who wants to help, foster those relationships. I think we've done better over the last couple of years. But COVID was hard. Everyone sort of was like just surviving for a while. And I think now we're kind of back in a place where we're like, maybe we can start expanding again. So definitely reach out. You're always welcome to donate to Hispanic Bar. Again, go to the website. Some of it might look outdated, but just email us if you have any questions.
I'll put that information in the podcast notes so that folks know how to become members and donate and know your upcoming schedule. I think that the HBAA does the best job that I have heard of this real cycle of life. Of it's not just, usually the bar associations are like, once you're a lawyer and you are ready to commit your time and your money and your energy, then we'll take you. But you all start young. And then so like you got a scholarship and then it inspires you to go to school and then you come back and give back. Yeah. And I don't see that all the time. So I could be wrong. I apologize to anyone listening if I am wrong.
No,
but from my
perspective,
perspective, I do think that you all have the best cycle of life that requires that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a scholarship recipient. Our current treasurer is Amy Rodriguez, was a scholarship recipient as well. Again, the people I've been working with on the bar, the Hispanic Bar, they've just always been around in my career. And when I was looking for a job, even out of law school, these are the people I was contacting when I was even looking just for additional scholarships that were outside of the ones we were offering at the time. I think it was my 3L. I just asked, like, hey, could I get funding for this? And they're there to support. That makes me so happy to hear, because that's exactly what we want. We want a pipeline, and you want people to feel like you're invested in them. And we truly are. And it really, again, it's been an organization, I think, that has always done really well. And just the people have just been amazing and have always just been really committed to giving back and really lifting up the people that we're trying to reach. Whether that's our middle schoolers, our college students, our law students. And so even apart from me thinking, it's just not, I want to give back. I think it definitely makes a big difference having an organization that really puts the actual authentic effort into it all.
Yeah, and you can see that at the luncheon. Everybody is happy and gets to know each other and is hugging and very supportive. Yeah. And so I'm inspired by what y'all do and how much money you raise so that you can give it away. Yeah. Because that's what's important, is to raise it and give it away to the people that need it. Yeah. And we've been really conscious about that. We're like, we can't just hold all this. Like, we've got to be giving it away. I mean, this last year we just did our partnership. Well, we've always had a partnership with St. Ed's, but we upped it this year. We did a $50,000 donation.
which is one of the biggest donations we've done. And so we're starting to, again, think on a new level. How can we expand? How can we grow beyond what we've been doing? Because I think what we do really well. But we have a lot more to give. And so we're, being cautious and being really thoughtful about what we're doing. But we definitely, again, if anyone wants to help out or has great ideas of things we could be doing in the community, we're open to it. We're here and we're responsive to helping people. So I'm really, again, I'm super proud of our organization. And I just think there's just bigger and better things to come.
Absolutely. I have some ideas for you that I'll tell you about when we're done.
Yeah.
Of different people that I've talked to that I think have a similar mission to yours.
Oh, good.
And so we can partner y'all together.
Yes.
And help serve the community some more.
Yeah.
Good. So you have talked about this a little bit, I think, but what organizations have meant the most to you personally or professionally?
HBAA.
I assume.
HBAA, of course. Following that is HNBA, which I've been involved in since law school as well, but over the years been more involved. So because of my engineering degree, I was the first class of a Microsoft HMBA IP Law Institute because I thought I was going to do IP law. Did not happen. But that was sort of my, I had volunteered at gone to HNBA conferences, but that was sort of my first experience in the HNBA of sort of being involved. And the relationships I formed there, I still have to this day. I just actually, I'm going to go to a wedding for one of the girls I met through that, and I'm still friends with. We're both on the board this year as well. So HNBA is just another extension of my sort of HBAA passion.
And for our listeners, that's the Hispanic National Bar Association.
Yes. Yeah. It's the national org. Mm-hmm. And then VLS. So I actually joined VLS through HBAA. So VLS, most people don't know, but does have representatives of the different bar groups on the board. So I'm sort of like the HBA liaison. I'm also just a regular board member. But the person who was previously from HBA that was on the board was rolling off, and they had asked me if I was interested, and I said sure. And it's been a really great experience. I've loved it. I love that it's sort of branching out with different groups of people. They do so much. VLS does so much in the community. I've just gotten involved in the last year in the eviction task force. They have different firms, sometimes have different days. And it's been an incredible experience. They're usually really short cases because you kind of go reset for a week, and then the next week you either argue or hopefully you settle in between. So it's a really interesting sort of quick-paced experience. But the staff at VLS is just amazing. I mean, they'll talk about just being selfless and doing the most because they're there to help you. Again, if you're scared to take some of these cases, organizations like VLS are great because they have the staff attorneys and the knowledge to help you learn how to do these cases. So you're not just thrown out on your own, sitting here Googling, looking at Texas law help, trying to be like, what do I do next? There's someone to help guide you through this so that then you can take on the next one on your own, and then you can keep passing that knowledge on. So I'm extremely grateful to VLS. I've just loved working with them, being on the board, getting to meet everyone on the board. Again, just a good group of people that are just passionate about pro bono, passionate about helping the community. And again, being really thoughtful about what we're doing, how we're impacting the community, and how can we make the most out of what resources we have. Love VLS. Music to Life, I just joined the board of about 2 years ago through a friend who, actually, she was my youth leader in church when I was younger here, and we've just stayed friends. And so I grew up Catholic, and one of the things she really instilled through our youth program was service as well. So it's sort of tied to my faith. And so she's always worked in nonprofit. She's kind of my nonprofit guru. And she connected me with Music to Life, which is this sort of really just unique organization. So the daughter of Noel Stuckey, who's from Peter, Paul, and Mary, Liz, heads the organization, and it's created from sort of those ideals where you had all these singers come together for these, social justice songs or sort of concerts, or in the 70s when you kind of had these momentous musical events. And they decided to take that idea and say, well, what if we don't just have a song, or what if we just don't have an event, but we really support the artists that are trying to enact sort of social change and better their community through music. And so it's really artist focused. And it's really about empowering the artist, not just, oh, hey, let's all get together and sing a song. It's how can we actually empower these artists to be entrepreneurs, how to be change makers in their community, how to take what they are passionate about and really do good with it. And so it's been a growing organization. It's really taken on different life forms throughout the years. And we're at a point where it's really, again, it's done great things. And now we're saying, what can we do next? Like, how can we be the most impactful and really help these artists that are just doing incredible things? So again, another good group of people that I'm working with. I love that it's not a legal related organization. I think sometimes as lawyers, we kind of get stuck in our little bar world, which is fantastic. But I like kind of doing something different for once. And growing up in Austin too, music capital of the world. Music's always been around in my life. So it's been an interesting experience. And it's so funny though. I say that, you should get out of your group, but I brought on to the board one of my friends from law school. He's in San Antonio, but he has written for Rolling Stone. He kind of does music on the side. And so I thought, oh, you'd be perfect to join this board with me. So again, another example of just kind of pulling in your community together. But I'm so excited about, I probably, can't add any more boards on for the meantime. But I've always been like that though. I've always been involved. I've always got multiple things going on, but yeah, these organizations that I'm in, they've just, again, good people, good causes. And kind of, at least with Music to Life, gets me out of just my full lawyer mode sometimes, which is nice.
Yeah, it's good to be around regular people.
Yes.
that have regular thoughts and aren't just like amped up about the case all the time.
Yeah.
And I love it. I bet I'm also very inspired by music. And so I bet that is a great organization because music does change people.
It does. It does. And it brings people together. It makes people think differently. And I'm not a music snob either. I was listening to Taylor Swift on the way here.
She changes people.
She does. I love Taylor Swift.
I do too. I'm a Swiftie.
But like, again, growing up in Austin, I've just always been around music and different kinds of music. And it's such when you definitely, when I moved to like Houston, for example, I definitely noticed sort of the difference. I'm like, oh, you just can't go anywhere and there's live music. It's like you kind of have to make an effort, and it changes the community. It changes the vibe of where you are, and yeah, it's just so important. And our ED is so passionate, Liz, about the program, and she's just a visionary that has really brought this organization, brought Music to Life along to different levels, and I'm excited to be a part of sort of its growth and what we're doing.
Well, we can put links to all of these great organizations in the notes so that people can get more information.
Yay.
What advice would you give to attorneys in Austin that want to get involved but don't know how?
Just reach out. I know sometimes I feel like there's, and I 100% get that we are busy. And sometimes you're like, I just don't even have the time to figure this out. Find one email, send the email. Be like the law students I tell. You just have to be persistent sometimes. Sometimes things just get lost. I find emails where it's like, I'm gonna respond and then I forget. But just reach out. Sometimes too, be patient. Like for Hispanic bar, we didn't have very much in the summer going on because we were sort of prepping for HHL, and then I was working on the website. So there just might not be an event happening immediately. But follow the Facebook pages, follow the websites, follow the Instagrams. We don't have an Instagram, but I'm sure some people do. But follow those. And two, I am so happy. And I think anyone on my board would be happy to meet with anyone directly if you just want to grab coffee, or even have a phone call or a Zoom call. But just reach out. It's like I tell my law students, and my mentees, just reach out. Everyone's so welcoming. There's no one's going to tell you no. And I think too, if you're trying, reach out to someone you're comfortable with, like that's involved in something. If you're trying to figure out what you want to do, because again, most likely, like people like you and me, like we're involved in a lot of things. We know a lot of different people. The other day I had an email from someone at UT that's looking for a moot court coach for the for the law school because they're going to send someone to the HMBA moot court competition. And so I was like thinking of my network, like who do I know? And it doesn't have to be a Hispanic attorney necessarily that I'm going to like offer for this. They just need a coach who's good at appellate law. So hey, if you're interested, let me know. But it's, I think reaching out to people, one, if you're a little hesitant or don't know where to start with someone who's involved, like someone in your network that that you're happy to get or easy, can call up or can get coffee with and say, how do I get involved? Because I'm sure, have plenty of options.
And I imagine there are so many different things happening with our different organizations all the time.
Yes.
If you have a lull, I might be free. And you could call me and ask, is there a committee to get plugged in with now?
Yeah. And, we're not always the best at like cross communicating sometimes. Like sometimes we don't know an event's happening. So that's why I say just reach out because you just never know what's going on. Like I might not always know what's going on with AYLA. Like maybe there's no, even though I have a board member who sits as a representative, but that's the thing. I'll call up Amy and say, hey, what's going on with AYLA? Because you sit on that and share that for us. So it's just, it's like networking. Unfortunately, it's still a little bit of effort, but again, I think there's just so much opportunity. And so many things you can do here. And everyone I've met is so great. But even like I said, and just showing up's part of it, right? Like showing up to the HHL, you could meet people from all over, from the different affinity groups. You can meet judges, you can meet corporate lawyers. Like you could meet maybe people from industry groups. There's so many different groups showing up for us and supporting us, which we're extremely thankful for. That it's just events like that where maybe we're having a big sort of gathering of people are perfect to sort of figure out how do I get involved.
And everyone's nice.
Yeah,
everyone is nice. Everyone is going to welcome you to their table.
It's like, it's so great. So, and there, I was going to say there's drinks, but there's not drinks.
There's iced teas.
Yeah, there's iced tea. But, it's definitely, I 100% get how it can be hard to sort of break that ice and break into the scene. Especially like I said, we've got a lot of core people, and I think some groups suffer from like clicky fatigue, and I just made that up, but you know what I mean? I think definitely some groups can seem hard to approach, but I think that at the end of the day, everyone is actually really approachable, and you've just got to find that right person to help you connect. And I think there's plenty of people more than willing to do that. I'm happy to do it. And even if I don't know the people, I don't care if I cold email them.
Well, and even if you just made that up, the click fatigue, I think that's real.
Yeah.
Is you walk into a room, you see people talking and
they know each other.
Yes. And there are some introverted folks who are like, well, I don't want to bother them.
Yeah.
Bother them.
Yeah.
Go bother them. Say hello.
100%. I think it is, and I am very much an extrovert. So it's always been really natural for me to just like meet strangers, but which is why I say find me and I'll happy to introduce you to anyone you want. Or find people you trust if you're an introvert that are involved and say like, hey, can you like help me get involved in this or make that connection? I think that it is, again, we've been doing this all our careers. We have been told about how to network our whole, since law school, probably even before. It's just networking, but for extracurriculars, which, can be annoying. But I think if you just show up, make the call, make the effort, someone's going to be there. And not every organization is a perfect fit the first time. There have been groups, even a board I really wanted to be on, that I kind of was like, I had done an interview with them, that I didn't hear from them. And it was actually through another organization that tries to get sort of minorities onto board. So I was really excited about this opportunity. And it didn't really work out, and it was just sort of like, oh, okay, I'll move on to the next thing. And actually, that's how I ended up getting Music to Life. I was actually looking at a different board at the time. And then I was telling my friend about this. And she was like, oh, well, I have a different opportunity you might be interested in. And I thought, how fortuitous. Like, this worked out perfectly. So, if you don't find your group on the first try, don't give up. There's a ton of groups and a ton of ways to get involved. And sometimes it's just finding that perfect fit. I think we kind of forget that and, think, oh, it's going to work out for the best the first time. But sometimes you find that maybe, hey, your niche is somewhere else, and that's perfectly okay.
Well, and that's part of why I want to feature all of these groups because, What I hear is sometimes it's hard to break in, like to the Austin bar. You might not know anybody. You walk in, maybe it's expensive
Yeah.
for whatever your
I'm not
situation
as involved
is.
in Boston Bar as I could be, to be honest. I've always been really involved in HBAA. We're like trying to make that effort now, and I'm so glad I know you now.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is that if you found the place that you want to be, is I think that that's what we need to help everyone find, is where is the place that's most comfortable for you?
Yeah.
You know, I can't change the Austin bar to make it fit everybody. So why don't I instead like make sure that we have all these alliances and we
Yeah.
get to know each other?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think at the end of the day, we have a common cause and a lot of commonalities between us, but 100% find your niche, and it might not be what you thought it was, but that's okay. That's okay. And you're still going to get chances like this. Like I get to connect with you and talk to you. And again, I'm very aware I haven't been as involved in the Austin bar itself, but I have my rep on AWLA, and I have gone to like a bar meeting before for something. I know I have. Well, I've been on HVAA, but it's, one, there's only so much time. And so
That's
it's okay to not do it all. It is okay, coming from me who's doing probably too much, but it is okay to not do it all. And it's okay to not do it all or do even it right now. So say for instance, once, I'm president, I'll be past president next year of HBAA. I'll probably still be on the foundation board helping with gala, but I might have free time to do something else. So maybe I look at joining something in the bar, joining one of the committees, joining another group that I'm like, oh, I have more free time. So sometimes it's also just figuring out like maybe it doesn't fit right now for me, but maybe down the line, and I'll keep that sort of option open.
Thank you so much for being here today. I have loved this chat.
Thanks. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And thank you for highlighting HBAA. I'm so proud of it. There are people in our organization that just deserve to be highlighted even more so than me. So I'm so glad that we could be here.
Well, we're happy to have you. We'll see y'all next time. Thanks.